So welcome back. We're going to talk more about the Hopi. There are a lot of signs that have not really been explained about the Hopi taking the mask off in the village square. What the heck does that mean? I'm going to break it down. I asked a lot of questions about exactly what that means. Is it a person? What's going to be revealed? And I'm going to break it down for you so we're going to know the signs because we've been through all 8 of them now. And the ninth one is the next big one. And then there comes the purification. Owie. Yeah, what happens after that? Then we go into the golden era. But there will be big things happening during that purification that we have to accept that that's part of the renewal. Now, one thing I want to share with you is there was a big cataclysmic crash on this planet that was predicted by the Hopi. I'm going to tell you about that. It was in 1998. It happened to coincide with when the poles started shifting, according to Edgar Casey, and a major solar flare. We had several events that happened and a huge crash on our planet. I'm going to explain that. Nobody actually seems to know about this. So I'm going to explain that we may have already had some events happen that we're not even paying attention to, but we're going to talk about exactly what all these signs mean because we're going to start looking for them because the Hopi Blue Star is the big one that we're going to start looking for. I think you're going to love the details that I'm going to share with you today about all of the final signs of our transformation into a golden era. It is coming. It's here. Yeah, let's make it happen. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. I'm here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. I hope that you will subscribe. I hope you share my videos and tell YouTube that you want positive message of renewal and the fact that we are here to do that. We are here to evolve and you have total power over it. In fact, we're going to talk more about those powers and the Hopi believed in those powers and all of these predictions of all these major prophets and whoever out there has told us what the future looks like has said the same thing. You hold the power. There's nothing in stone and we can change absolutely anything. And that is the good news. So I wanted to know more about the Hopi Blue Star, what's been said about it, when it will appear. And of course, it is known as the Blue Star Kachina. And its appearance is a pivotal herald of the end of the current age. We are in the 4th race. There have been other races before us that got taken out by fire, water, volcanic eruptions, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? How and when that happens, we're actually in charge of. But I wanted to know what are all these signs that we can look for? Because I know you guys love the signs, you love predictions. So what is the Hopi Blue Star? It acts as an alarm clock for the transition between the worlds. That's the sign. And it happens, it will happen according to our evolution. So it's not separate from us. We're actually the ones causing these signs and things to show up, including solar flares, volcanoes, earthquakes, any kind of cataclysmic events with water. We are actually causing these things. And whatever level they occur on happens to coincide with our frequency. This is an Edgar Casey thing that he has talked about since he was talking about it. And so the bottom line is, if you don't believe that we are connected to all these things, then you're still in separation. And that's the old world, fighting for the material world, blaming and arguing and angry. And there's no room for anger in the new world. So let's talk about the sign of the 5th world. Its arrival marks the imminent birth of the 5th world. What is the 5th world? The golden era of peace and harmony that follows the destruction of the 4th world, the current 4th world. Now, you saw my last video. There's 3 cataclysmic events. We've already had 2 world wars. The 3rd one doesn't necessarily have to be a military war. It could be something just so huge it's going to shake up the planet. And so don't worry, it's not going to wipe everything out, but it's going to be so eventful, such a big deal that people will no longer want to have anything to do with the old guard, the old world. Some people will cling to that and they will, possibly perish. I don't know what that looks like, but let's just say they won't be participating in the new one. The final sign, it's actually the 9th and final sign. We've been through all 8 signs. That's in my last video if you want to look at those. It's a series of prophecies describing the winding down of the fourth world. So don't worry, we're going to still be here, but it's still a choice for you where you reside in that world, what frequency you are in. The Unmasking prophecy states that the Blue Star Kachina will eventually take off his mask publicly in a plaza. I don't know what that means. Is it a person? What's the mask? I said, what is this? All Hopi ceremonies will permanently cease. Why? I'm going to tell you right here. The Blue Star's return is said to coincide with fires that burn within us, which may manifest as inner conflict for those who've forgotten original spiritual teachings and a peaceful way of life. Fires burning, people are going to be restless and frustrated and fearful and angry. And, whenever I see an angry comment on my channel, I'm like, you are hurting, and I send my love to you. So when's it going to appear? Hopi prophecy rarely provides specific calendar dates, just like anybody else, including Edgar Cayce, rarely. The timing of the Blue Star's appearance is due to specific conditions and preceding events. So there's the fall of the dwelling place. The Blue Star, you're going to love this. This is so interesting. The Blue Star will appear when a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth falls with a great crash. Some modern interpretations suggest this dwelling place would be a space station. Well, guess what? Did you know Skylab crashed? In 1998, I believe 98, when the poles started shifting, Skylab was up there, and NASA apparently couldn't afford to send more people up there. That's a load of crap. But anyways, so they left it up there in orbit for the time when they would send people back up, a crew back up there. Well, what they didn't know is that any kind of event could throw it off orbit. We had a major solar event then, same time, and it threw Skylab off whack. And so now NASA had to figure out where this thing's going to crash. So it's trying to guide it so that it'll crash out in an ocean. And they managed to do this. But then at the last minute, it's heading straight for Melbourne, Australia. It started to break up, and the big pieces went off and went into the ocean, and problem averted. Did you know that? That's the beginnings of our space station, right? Same thing. Was that the big crash from the sky? And we're sort of forgetting. Do you even know that happened? I didn't. I was still here, right? After the fulfillment of the 8 signs, the Blue Star is that final sign. And so its arrival is expected during a period characterized by a world out of balance. So it's going to appear when the world is out of balance, marked by erratic climate changes, widespread famine, social corruption, global shaking, or wars. So that wasn't just world wars, it was world shaking. Those are the 3 circles that the Hopi etched in the glyphs on the stone. So what does that mean? 3 big events. We've already had 2. What's the third one? No one can really know, but it's going to shake up our planet. It's going to really turn people around. And we're already in famine. We're already in social corruption and global shakings. So spiritual proximity, many contemporary spiritual elders, Hopi, believe that humankind is in the literal final days of the fourth world, and that appearance of the Blue Star is imminent. And then there's the purifier. The Red Kachina is expected to arrive shortly thereafter to initiate the day of purification. And that is actually a good thing. So I said, what are the signs, the 9 signs? What are those final signs? All right. The coming of white-skinned men, done. Spinning wheels filled with voices, done. Okay. A strange beast like a buffalo. Okay. Done. Cattle, all things that weren't here before. Snakes of iron. We're looking at railroads, done. A giant spider web, the internet. Rivers of stone, the land would be crossed by stone paths that make pictures, mirages in the sun, presenting asphalt and concrete roads. The sea turning black, major oil spills, done, done, and done. Youth with long hair, the hippie era in the 1960s. A falling dwelling place, I believe that was Skylab. It doesn't get any bigger. We don't need the space station. That already fell from the skies. A great crash. So the 9th sign is the alarm clock. Well, what does this mean in detail? What's this unmasking prophecy? States that the Blue Kachina will take off his mask publicly in the plaza. What is that? So that's supposedly a spirit acting as the alarm clock. His return is the ninth and final sign of the fourth world's end, appearing after a dwelling place in the heavens crashes. That has happened. So this has been a long time. But time, it's not always like it's going to happen linear. Okay, again, our input spiritually is determining those timelines. So don't get hung up on those. What's the meaning of the unmasking? It is literal and symbolic. Prophecy states that the Blue Star Kachina will take off his mask publicly in the village plaza. This is the spirit revealing its true self to humankind. Now, here we go back to the human origins. It's going to be revealed. I think that that's what this is talking about. This acts as the definitive sign that all Hopi ceremonies will permanently cease, since these annual rituals are performed to keep the current world in balance. So I'm like, why would the rituals cease? Because it's meant to keep the world in balance. We won't need them anymore. And their cessation indicates that the fourth world is beyond balancing and the transition has begun. So you're just going to let her go, let her rip. So spiritual maturity, some interpretations suggest that the unmasking coincides with humankind reaching a new level of planetary consciousness, where fires that burn within us will either purify individuals or cause inner conflict for those who have forgotten original spiritual teachings. I believe that the origins of what we are, which was predicted by Edgar Cayce, and we talked about the etheric beings that came here. They were androgynous, that they were in spirit form until they got really hung up into the 3D world, turning into split humans. Watch that video. It's really interesting. It actually makes sense. If you don't believe that's okay, it's sort of fun to watch anyways. But the bottom line is that we're going to go back to that, realize what we are, and that realization is going to be a huge turning point shortly after the Blue Star's unmasking. And I believe, and Chris Bledsoe spoke about this, and so many have talked about that there's some big thing that's going to be revealed. Edgar Cayce talked about the Hall of Records in 3 different places. I believe it's going to change how we think about ourselves, who and what we are. The unmasking. And then all of that old world can't hide anything anymore. We're going to know the truth. And that Red Kachina, known as the purifier, will arrive to initiate the day of purification. On that day, the earth, its creatures, and all life is currently known will change forever. Will change forever. Birth of the fifth world, while the unmasking marks the death of the old age, it is viewed by elders as the dawn of a new age characterized by harmony, regeneration, and unity under the power of the Creator. So I didn't know what unmasking mean. Is it a secret that'll be revealed, and what will be revealed? So it was reinforced that this unmasking, it's a secret being revealed because it represents the spirit revealing its true self to humankind for the first time in the fourth world. What will be revealed? The spirit's identity. The act of taking off the mask reveals the spirit's actual identity, moving beyond the representation used in ceremonies. We're going to know exactly who's doing what, who's what. It's all going to be revealed. This revelation is said to trigger fires that burn in us, higher level of planetary consciousness. That's what that means. The end of the old way, all Hopi ceremonies will permanently cease because it's no longer needed. That's what that means. I thought this was some horrible thing, how it's going to cease, because it was meant to balance us, and we're going to go into the burning of everything to cleanse, and then we're going to go into that new era. What is this Red Kachina that follows the Blue Star? This is a role of the bringer of the day of purification. The primary purpose of the Red Kachina is to initiate the day of purification. It's a global catalyst for change. He brings, it's prophecy that all life as we know, including the earth, will change forever. What's the relationship to the Blue Star? The Blue Star Kachina acts as the alarm clock. The Red Kachina follows shortly after to enact the actual physical and spiritual cleansing of the world. So the Blue Star is the sign. It's here, we're happening, we did it. The Red Star is now we're going into. That's the purification. The mask is taken off, the secret is revealed, and guess what? We're in it. There's no going back from any of that. So some sources associate the approach of this figure with the arrival of Nibiru, called Planet X, or the destroyer, a celestial body, believed by some to be coming closer to Earth and causing increased planetary shifts. Do you know to this day there is no proof that that exists? And we can see pretty far out there, and there's nothing. I know some people will argue with me, and that's fine. You're allowed your opinion. But I looked into this, and there's no proof that that exists at all. I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I believe it's going to be something that none of us predict. And depending on our frequency, that event would change. So people think it's solar flares. I don't think so. I think our society is going into a higher frequency, and that has calmed, let's just say, Earth cataclysms and events, and the sun. We are directly communicating with the sun. Read Edgar Cayce, watch my videos. He talks specifically that these are live, intelligent beings that are reacting directly to us because we are it. You say, wait a minute, how can we be it? Don't try and wrap your head around it. But if you keep your frequency high, you are contributing to the change that doesn't have to take us into something that's going to destroy everything. We're actually in charge of that. A lot of you are waiting for it. Tell me what's going to happen. I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. How are you feeling? Let's make it happen. So what happens after the fifth race comes in? All this crazy stuff clears out, and we start building something new and saying, no more destroying the planet. Nothing should be made if it harms an animal, a person, or the planet. It shouldn't be allowed. Everything should be natural and celebrating and in respect and in peace to benefit the planet and animals and other people, not the opposite, which is how we operate right now. Global unity and peace, this is what we can expect. The new world will be defined as a long era of harmony and peace, united people, and individuals will see themselves as cosmic citizens with a shared destiny rather than being divided by nationality or race. That's what tells me I think we're going to find out what our origins are. And that cosmic citizens could include some other beings that are going to finally join us because we're not going to fear them anymore and realize they could be a turning point for us, especially because all of them are more advanced than us. Higher consciousness and divine administration. The transition involves a global shift in consciousness toward unity, cooperation, fourth dimensional thinking and living. And this era is described as the first stage of light and life, characterized by divine administration, where godly leaders replace systems of imperialism and capitalism. Isn't that beautiful? It's really the opposite of how we've been functioning. We're under royalty. We're under people that take over and make decisions for us that we don't even agree with anymore. Going into some kingdom, and that's not how a unified world operates. Healing of the earth. The fifth world is a new earth. And that's what Dolores Cannon talked about, the new earth. It is not a physical place. We're already in the physical place. It's a reality that exists in the physical place according to what we're creating. We're co-creating it every moment because this is the illusion, and we can change it at any split second, including right now. You can change your world. You have to get rid of all the other stuff that you think is horrible. People like, I can go to this. I'm like, no, you already have it. It's everything else that's the illusion. And when you let go of it, you realize your pockets are lined with jewels. You just never reached in there. There's going to be a new spiritual language. The guiding philosophy or language of the fifth world is identified as the fifth epochal revelation. Ooh, that's cool. This body of knowledge, including the Urantia book and the Cosmic Family volumes, will be the latest holy writings studied by all people on the planet. Isn't that cool? I do actually have that all here as part of my research. Maybe we want to look into that. The return of the Bahina. The birth of this world is ushered in by the return of the Bahina, which is the lost white brother. No, it has nothing to do with race. Upon his return, they say his, but it's all spiritual, he will destroy the wicked and restore the original spiritual dictators, initiating this new cycle of time. Of course, that sounds horrible. Nobody wants to destroy anything, but it's going to happen in a way not expected, not the way humans think of violence. And the world is essentially a new day, a new way of life that spiritual elders suggest should be welcomed with open hearts and minds. So we're already in a bad way. So why would we be fearing anything that's going to purge the things that are so destructive and separating us and destroying a planet, a beautiful planet, and it has to end. And you have to start living that way now. What are you buying, purchasing, eating that is toxic? You can put everybody out of business that's destroying the planet or hurting animals. Yeah, you can do that. Did you see about the, what is it, 2,500 beagles that this group went into this, lab and pulled them all out? And they're finding out what grass is like and water and hugs. It's happening, but it takes your effort and mine. I'm here to remind you of what you are, and everything that we can do should serve others. When you serve others, you serve yourself because you are that. I am that. I am. So I hope that you'll subscribe. Please share my videos. Those of you who haven't read my book, I hope you'll go purchase it. Yes, somebody said, there's always a book. I said, of course, there's a book. We have to pay our bills. I'm still in the 3D world. And that message was downloaded, and it's an important one. Also, I am promoting businesses that don't harm animals, plants, are not toxic, and don't come in plastic. End the plastic. If you are drinking water out of plastic, you're poisoning yourself, you're poisoning the planet, and you're part of the lower frequency. It's a choice. You don't have to. No, you don't. I have a water purifier down in the description that's amazing. It's way cheaper because you're not going to be buying a bunch of expensive water. It isn't in plastic, and it is purifying, I think, like 87 different icky things that are in your water. And you just keep using it over and over and over again. I'm telling you, this is not complex stuff. Are you ready to step into that world? We have to support it. You and I do. And we're here. We're ready. It's happening. Start looking for the signs. And no, Atlas A1 was not the Hopi Blue Star. It's not a star. It was comet. I think it was a sign of some kind. What kind of sign? I don't know, and it's off to its next stop. So I just have one more thing to tell you. You're whole, perfect, strong, and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. And to the really nasty person who said, what's that line on your neck? It's called old age, honey, and it happens to all of us. And I have no problem with it. I find it interesting. It's not who you are. Your body is not who you are. Whatever you think of that body or aging or, trying to hang on to, let it go. Let it go and be the beautiful you, whatever stage of life you're in, and embrace it. Yeah, be your best, of course, but you never have to worry about any of these things because you're eternal and you are perfect. Yes, and you are unconditionally loved. Never forget that. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.